Welcome back to my channel. Tonight may shape up to be one of the most unexpected and talked about moments in recent WWE NXT memory, because according to widespread backstage chatter and confirmation from several well-known wrestling news sources, Zilla Fatu is on the verge of making his first ever appearance inside a WWE ring, and if that happens, it will mark a major turning point not only for his own career, but also for the current direction of NXT as a brand. Zilla Fatu, the son of the late and legendary Omega and a fast-rising name on the independent wrestling circuit, has been generating serious buzz over the past year, and now it appears that WWE is finally ready to bring him into the spotlight. Reports suggest that his debut could happen as soon as tonight's episode of NXT or possibly next week, following a shocking and very real attack that took place at a Reality of Wrestling event, where Ricky Saints blindsided him in a moment that immediately set the wrestling world on fire. That single incident has quickly grown into something much larger, evolving into a rivalry that feels raw, personal, and perfectly suited to transition onto WWE television. The big question now is what this means for the NXT landscape, how it could reshape ongoing storylines, and whether this moment represents the long-awaited arrival of Zilla Fatu's destiny under the WWE spotlight. To fully understand why this potential debut matters so much, we need to break down the entire situation, look at the background, analyze the players involved, explore WWE's storytelling patterns and predict what might happen next. This is Ring Rumble, the place where we go beyond surface-level reactions and dive deep into the stories behind the matches, the motivations beneath the rivalries, and the layered wrestling narratives that often go unnoticed by casual viewers. If this is your first time here, this is exactly the kind of detailed breakdown you can expect, especially when a major potential storyline pivot is unfolding right in front of us, and this one involves one of the most discussed independent talents in the industry today. Before we even begin talking about a possible WWE debut, it is essential to understand who Zilla Fatu really is, because his name carries weight long before he ever steps between WWE ropes. Born Isaiah Fatu on September 9, 1999, Zilla is not just another prospect trying to make his way into the business, he is a direct descendant of the Anoa'i wrestling dynasty, one of the most influential and celebrated families in professional wrestling history. This is the same bloodline that produced icons such as Roman Reigns, the Usos, Yokozuna, Rikishi and of course his father Omega, whose intensity, presence, and unforgettable aura left a lasting mark on WWE fans around the world. Growing up with that legacy attached to his name brings both opportunity and pressure, and from the moment Zilla entered the wrestling world, expectations followed him everywhere. He made his professional wrestling debut in 2023, and it did not take long for him to stand out on the independent scene. Competing across multiple promotions, he quickly built a reputation for explosive power, surprising athleticism for his size, and an in-ring style that echoed elements of his father while still feeling modern and uniquely his own. His work in Reality of Wrestling, House of Glory and other promotions earned him championship gold and consistent attention from fans and insiders alike. Despite all of this momentum, WWE appeared cautious about signing him right away, likely wanting to see continued growth, consistency, and maturity before making such a high-profile move. That hesitation only added to the intrigue, because everyone knew that once WWE did decide to pull the trigger, it would be a significant moment. Standing on the shoulders of wrestling giants naturally raises the stakes, and the biggest lingering question has always been whether Zilla Fatu is ready not just to live up to his family name, but to carry it forward on WWE television. The spark that may finally bring him into WWE came from a dramatic incident that unfolded on December 20, 2025, at Reality of Wrestling's Sub-Zero event. During a highly anticipated match, Zilla Fatu was seconds away from securing a major victory and capturing the Raw Championship when everything suddenly changed. A masked individual stormed the ring out of nowhere and delivered a devastating spear that cut Zilla down in mid-match, instantly derailing his championship opportunity. The shock in the building was immediate, and when the attacker revealed himself, the surprise turned into disbelief. The man behind the mask was Ricky Saints, formerly known to many fans as Ricky Starks from his time outside WWE, now competing in NXT under his new name. This was not a random act of chaos or a meaningless run-in. It was deliberate, calculated, and loaded with intent. The timing, the target, and the setting all pointed to something bigger than a simple independent wrestling angle. After the event, Zilla Fatu took to social media and issued a concise but powerful response, warning Saints not to get too comfortable, a message that instantly fueled speculation about where this rivalry might go next. While professional wrestling is scripted, WWE has a long history of using real-world incidents and crossover moments from other promotions as the foundation for on-screen stories, especially when it helps explain a new talent's motivation or justifies the escalation of a feud on television. This attack placed Zilla directly into the conversation for WWE NXT programming, because it created a ready-made narrative that requires very little explanation for fans. To understand why this rivalry has so much potential, it is important to look closely at Ricky Sainz and his position within WWE NXT. After making a name for himself elsewhere, Sainz arrived in NXT on February 11, 2025, and immediately established himself as a major player. His charisma, promo ability, and in-ring competence helped him rise quickly through the ranks, and he went on to capture the NXT North American Championship, cementing his status as one of the brand's key figures. Even after dropping the title, he remained heavily featured, consistently positioned as a dangerous and intelligent competitor who knows how to manipulate situations to his advantage. Sainz is savvy, calculated, and fully aware of how to generate attention, and his attack on Zilla Fatu felt like a strategic move rather than a spontaneous act. From an insider perspective, it looked like Sainz deliberately inserting himself into the story of someone who was already rumored to be WWE bound, effectively creating a feud that could transition seamlessly from the independent scene to NXT television. That is why so many wrestling analysts view this as the early stages of a major NXT storyline rather than an isolated incident. Even though Zilla has not yet appeared consistently under the WWE banner, his resume continues to grow. His work across Reality of Wrestling, GCW, and House of Glory showcased his ability to dominate physically while steadily improving his overall presentation. Early in his career, there were whispers among insiders that he needed to mature creatively and professionally, learning how to navigate the business side of wrestling and refine his approach. Over time, those same insiders have noted significant improvement, pointing out that he has become more focused, more disciplined, and more polished with each passing month. This kind of progression is exactly what WWE looks for when evaluating independent talent. WWE often prefers to sign wrestlers who have already tested themselves in different environments, learned from mistakes, and proven that they can adapt. Zilla's combination of lineage, physical presence, and growing experience makes him uniquely positioned for a meaningful debut, especially when WWE historically introduces new talent in very specific ways. Typically, a WWE debut follows one of three patterns: a surprise appearance or attack that instantly establishes a feud, a series of vignettes that introduce the wrestler's background and intentions, or a straightforward match debut followed by promo work to define the character. What happened at Reality of Wrestling aligns perfectly with the surprise attack model, giving WWE the option to reference or build upon those events without needing to start from scratch. WWE could easily air promotional segments hinting at Zilla's arrival, using the Saints attack as context, and build anticipation before he ever officially steps into an NXT ring. This approach has been used many times in the past, where independent success and real-world events blend into WWE storytelling to create an immediate sense of importance. One of the most interesting creative questions surrounding Zilla's potential debut is whether he should be positioned as a face or a heel. Given the circumstances, it makes the most sense for him to arrive as a babyface, fueled by anger and a desire for revenge after being ambushed by Ricky Sainz. Fans naturally rally behind someone who has been wronged, especially when the attack feels personal rather than purely competitive. This provides WWE with an emotional hook that requires minimal exposition. Zilla's family heritage also adds another layer, as WWE could choose to acknowledge his bloodline connections subtly or overtly, depending on how they want to shape his character. However, the most immediate and logical entry point into NXT television is the feud with Sainz. Online fan reaction has been mixed but largely enthusiastic. Across wrestling forums and social media platforms, many fans express excitement about the possibility of Zilla finally arriving in WWE, debating whether he should eventually align with the bloodline or carve out his own independent identity. Others caution that he is still relatively new and argue that he would benefit from continued development before being thrust into high-profile situations. That debate itself is valuable, because it generates discussion, speculation, and engagement, all of which WWE thrives on when introducing a new character. If Zilla debuts on NXT with momentum from the Saints attack, it could instantly shake up the roster. Ricky Sainz is already a prominent figure, and adding a physically imposing, emotionally driven rival gives NXT a fresh and compelling storyline. NXT has always succeeded when it leans into rivalries that feel grounded in real tension, and this situation provides exactly that. If the feud becomes official on television, it is not just about one match, it becomes an ongoing arc that can unfold over several weeks, giving both men meaningful screen time and giving fans a reason to tune in consistently. Looking at how WWE might execute the debut, there are several plausible scenarios. One likely approach would be to open an episode of NXT with Ricky Sainz either competing in a match or cutting a promo, boasting about his accomplishments and perhaps referencing his attack on Zilla in a dismissive way. That moment could then be interrupted by a dramatic entrance, complete with lighting changes, crowd noise, and Zilla Fatu appearing on the ramp. Whether he stands silently, storms the ring, or delivers a short but intense promo, the goal would be to create an instant connection with the audience and clearly establish the rivalry. Zilla's first WWE promo would need to accomplish a few key things: introduce who he is and where he comes from, acknowledge the attack as a sign of disrespect that he will not tolerate, and set clear stakes for an eventual match. He does not need to deliver a long, complex speech. Even a straightforward message delivered with intensity would be enough to position him as a serious threat. There is also a strategic reason WWE might choose to delay his in-ring debut slightly. Teasing his arrival, showing brief segments, or announcing a future appearance can build anticipation and drive online conversation. WWE often uses this tactic to maximize buzz, ensuring that when the debut finally happens, it feels like a big deal. Given Zilla's family ties, there will always be speculation about a future connection to the bloodline, but that does not need to happen immediately. In fact, allowing him to establish himself first through a personal feud gives him credibility on his own terms. If this rivalry with Saints unfolds as expected, it has the potential to elevate both men. Saints gains heat as the antagonist who provoked the situation, while Zilla gains sympathy and momentum as the newcomer seeking justice. WWE gains a storyline rooted in real events that feels authentic rather than manufactured.